Very good. What else? Vinicio?
Used to or would.
For both expressions, the meaning is the same.
Okay.
What is the meaning in Spanish?
Solía y soler.
Nice. Very good. So remember, would and used to is the same meaning. And very important, class, very important that this would is not the same as would like. It's not the same. Okay, it's not the same. Would you like to eat pizza? That's another expression, very different, other topic. Don't think about that. Exorcising you. No, don't think about that. That's other topic. Today, would is the same as used to. Solía and soler, solíamos, etc. Okay? Awesome. So let's continue. A structure for used to, subject, plus used to, plus infinitive, plus complement. And the same for would. Subject plus would plus infinitive plus complement. Okay? Let's create more examples. Examples. I used to read fantasy books. I used to read fantasy books. Everything was easy when I used to be a child. I used to be a child. Vinicio used to preach the gospel in the mission. Well, I did not use to speak English at school. So negative form, guys, negative form, it's simple. Because used to, as you can see, is in past tense, solía, right? It's describing an action that I did a few years ago, that happened few years ago, a habit, something that I was accustomed to, right? So I will use the auxiliary did, and because it's negative, I will add the connector not. So the next verb will be without ed. This means that my used to will be like this, and the rest is the same. Let's see other example. Evelyn did not use to travel and visit her parents. That's -4. Does it make sense? Because I have the auxiliary, I don't need to use with ed, they used to, as I do in affirmative sentence. You see? Let's create more examples. The teacher used to work at let's use in. The teacher used to work in a kindergarten. What is the negative sentence for that, Eduardo? Negative sentence.
Okay. I did it. I did not.
I or the teacher?
I, the teacher. Teacher. Okay. Didn't. Used to work in a kindergarten.
Very good. The teacher didn't used to work in a kindergarten. Interrogative. What is my auxiliary? Did. Subject. The teacher used to or no ed at the end. What do you think?
No ed.
No ed. Did the teacher used to work in a kindergarten? For interrogative sentence, I use my auxiliary did, and then the expression used to. In the same case, I use it without past tense. And the rest is the same. Vinicio?
Also, when we use the negative form, we use used to without ed to.
Negative and interrogative. Use to. Let's see this example. He did not used to work very hard. Write in the chat the interrogative sentence. Write in the chat the interrogative sentence for he did not used to work very hard. Okay, remember guys that I am not saying a negative question. It's a simple interrogative question. Did he used to work very hard? It's simple, the simple version. What some of you were doing, it's called negative questions. And that's another topic. That's another topic. Esto es otro tema. Negative questions es otro tema. No es lo que estamos viendo ahorita. No se adelante. Only the simple one. Did he used to work very hard? Okay, let's delete everything. All right, so next one. I have a bicycle. Please write a sentence affirmative with used to in the chat. Write a sentence using used to in the chat. I have a bicycle.
Teacher, we don't listen you.
Hello. Now write the translation for this sentence in the chat. I used to have a bicycle. Write the translation of the sentence in Spanish in the chat. Very good. Okay, now please write this sentence using used to in the chat. I go to the beach every weekend. Affirmative sentence with used to. I used to go to the beach every weekend. I used to go to the beach every weekend. Now, please write the negative form for the sentence. I used to go to the beach every weekend. And that's correct. That would be, I did not, or I didn't use to, no D, no ED at the end. I used to go to the beach every weekend. Now, interrogative, please. Write it in the chat. Okay, then, very good. Did I used to go? Did I use to go to the beach every weekend? Mhm. Excellent. So now with would, we use would for repetitive actions, specific time, and very formal. It's very formal. Let's imagine that I am telling a story in a speech, in a conference, something like that. So, for example, every Monday, I would go to sports training after school. That's the meaning. Absolutely the same. But as you can see, I am very specific with every moment when the action happened. When the action happened, every Monday. It's a repetitive action. Every Monday. A specific time after school. Also, would is used with adverbs of frequency. Always. Mhm. My parents always tell me. Always. My parents would always tell me to be good before I went out. Siempre solían o solían siempre. It doesn't matter. I like to use it before in my translations in Spanish. Remember, I don't translate simple past when I use used to and would as simple past. I translate it as conditional. What does it mean? I will say it in Spanish. Cuando tenemos tiempo pasado, pasado simple. Este es un tip de traducción. Por ejemplo, my parents would always tell me. Recuerden que este would es lo mismo que used to. Significa solía. No es como te gustaría, diría. No, eso es otro tema aparte. ¿Cómo voy a saber identificarlos? Por medio del contexto. My parents would always tell me to be good before I went out. ¿Cómo lo voy a saber? Porque yo voy a utilizar would en un contexto donde estoy contando una historia. Estoy hablando de hechos pasados. Las otras maneras de usar would son otros contextos, otros escenarios. Así es como yo los voy a identificar. My parents would always tell me to be good before I went out. Tip de traducción. No lo voy a traducir. Mis padres siempre solían decirme ser bueno antes yo salí. No, no se traduce como traducimos el pasado simple. Se traduce con condicional. Forma condicional. Saliera, tuviera, riera, caminara. Mis padres siempre solían decirme que fuera bueno antes que saliera. Does it make sense? Here I have simple past. You see? Go, went. And let's see this sentence. My parents would always tell me, that's a repetitive action, to be good before I went out. A specific time. When? Before I went out. Adverbs, like always. exceptions. Past states, I don't use would. I don't use would. In past states, I don't use would. Why? Because it's not repetitive. You are not happy all the time. And grammatically, they are not considered as repetitive actions. So I cannot say I would be unhappy every day after school. Or I would live in the center of the city when I was young. So in English, these verbs are not considered repetitive actions. For that reason, if I want to say, yo solía ser un infeliz, yo solía vivir en Guatemala, yo uso used to. No voy a usar would. I would be, solía ser infeliz todos los días después de la escuela. Doesn't work. Why? Because for the English language, would and the verb to be doesn't match. They're not considered that you can be unhappy every day after school. That's not possible. Porque las emociones no son repetitivas, no son permanentes. Tampoco podemos vivir varias veces en un lugar. El verbo live es considerado no repetitivo, because you can live in one place and live again in one place. Right? Es como si se mudara todos los días. That's not possible. That's why we don't use would with the verb live. When I would live in the center of the city when I was young, that's not possible. Because if you use would, that means that every day you moved to the center of the city. Solo se vive puede vivir una sola vez en el idioma inglés. Does it make sense? Mm-hmm. And remember that would is very formal. We commonly use the expression used to all the time, but with, you can find it in books, you can find it in speeches, and you can find it in some narrators from the church or narrators telling you a story. But in an informal, casual conversation, I don't use would. I use used to. Questions? So now we will do an activity with one video. I will send you a link in the Zoom chat, and I want you to see this video with your